let's continue our discussion about how to assess reading. And in this regard, let's discuss an important area, which is the testing of grammatical knowledge of second language learners. Before we begin this module, I would like you, as language teachers, when you become language teachers, just to keep in mind that assessing second language learners is very complex process, because learners are, complex beings. We should treat them as humans with their all complexities, with their socio-economic or religious or socio-cultural backgrounds. Sometimes the learners may not want to be singled out, or they may not want to be attended by the teacher, and they would like, this can affect their reading proficiency. Or sometimes they are tired, or sometimes they are ill, or sometimes they are not willing to work in groups. So these are different psychosocial issues which can influence second language learners' reading habits. And when we test their grammatical knowledge, we need to keep these issues in mind. So grammar tests actually involve word recognition skills. It also involves vocabulary knowledge, the knowledge which the students have developed in terms of understanding words, in terms of recognizing words and understanding words. So grammatical knowledge is all about the use of parts of speech, or the use of article, or the use of preposition, or the use of punctuation. So all these things are at play in grammatical knowledge. Word recognition tests and vocabulary tests should be administered before grammar knowledge tests, because if the student have a certain amount of proficiency in word recognition, they can perform well in their grammatical knowledge. And if on the other hand, if they don't have proper word recognition approach, then their grammaticality can be affected. So if the teacher speaks the first language, then the students can translate it, but there is a danger of using too much grammar translation method, because it can lead students to mistranslate or misunderstand the text. And I would, as a second language teacher, I would like to give you a word of caution not to use too much of grammar translation method in terms of assessing grammatical knowledge of the students. If, for example, they are too slow, then their grammatical knowledge can be affected, or their overall understanding of reading material can be affected. So I would suggest you to use communicative language teaching approach or task-based language teaching approach in terms of assessing reading skill, and you can give them sentence completion kind of questions as shown on this slide. For example, in the last 3 bullets on this slide, I was very surprised by. So then the space it made me. I've been waiting for an hour. So this is how there are various ways, but one of the ways is to use communicative language teaching and task-based language teaching when we are assessing grammatical knowledge of the students. So there are various variables which are at play while we are assessing grammatical knowledge or grammatical competence of the students. And in this regard, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's important if the students face too many problems and they feel hindered because of their lack of grammatical knowledge, then you can offer them motivation and diagnose their problem and discuss those problems with them. And an effective strategy might be telling them the context of the story about the passage which they are about to read. So it can set up a kind of context for them. So it can kind of give them background knowledge. And it's important, as I mentioned in the beginning, to discuss personal issues with the students, because discussing, opening up your heart with the student can help them motivate and encourage. So overall, the role of language teachers in assessing reading is not kind of harsh, is not seen as harsh in most of the books on second language reading and writing. Rather, it's seen as constructive, as a facilitator who observes, points out, not single them out, rather diagnose the problems and then discuss those problems with the students.